We'll now hear from Adam Lupel, as I mentioned, the Vice President and Chief Operating Officer at the International Peace Institute. Equal time to you, sir.
I'll be brief. Good morning, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor to be with you. As already invoked, I think more than once this morning, it has become common to speak of our time as an inflection point in history. Every generation feels the temptation to place itself at the center of the universe, so I do believe we need to be humble about whatever may be our special place in the order of things, but it is increasingly clear that we are living at a moment of profound transformation. Some of this is geopolitical, has been mentioned, some of it is environmental, the climate crisis, some is technological, we're all talking about AI, but all of it is historical. Decisions being made today will have lasting consequences, potentially for generations to come. And thus, parliaments, as premier bodies of decision-making, have a critical role to play. You all have a critical role to play. The challenges are many and well known. They've been listed already in many respects. There's no avoiding it, though. The state of international peace and security is dire. And we're all champions of the international system, but it would seem on every front the international system is failing to provide adequate responses. And this has led to a growing recognition that the structures of global governance that we have in place today were created during a different time and reflect a different order. The theme is, it is time to look to the future. So we are asked today to look to the future of peace and security. The Secretary General's new Agenda for Peace identifies three fundamental principles for an effective collective security system: trust, solidarity, and universality. Good guides. Trust, I think we've already mentioned it a couple times, is seemingly at an all-time low. International solidarity was greatly damaged by the inequality of the pandemic, and universality is undermined by double standards on all sides. If we want to build trust and solidarity, universality is the key. There is no trust or solidarity if international rules are applied selectively based upon geopolitical interest and military power rather than universally according to the law. So, what are the main strategic risks to peace and security? There are many. But at the core today lies a general decay in universal commitments to international law and normative constraints on the use of force, both on when and how it is used, putting civilians in particular at increased risk. If we want to rebuild our capacity for collective security, we must demand that our leaders are morally and practically consistent in the application of international norms and the protection of civilians, so that all countries, all peoples, feel the system is there for them, and I think parliaments are well placed to make that demand. What's new in the new Agenda for Peace? If consistency is the key to rebuilding trust, comprehensiveness is the key to building peace. This is perhaps not wholly new, as it is fully in line with the Sustainable Development Goals, but I take it as potentially transformative, the recognition in the new Agenda for Peace that the cause of peace entails a commitment to the eradication of all forms of violence, including, not especially, gender-based violence, and a universal approach to prevention. That is, this is not an agenda restricted to only the least developed or conflict-affected states among us. All states, low, middle, and high income, have work to do and must commit to build national prevention strategies. So, What role for parliaments in the new agenda for peace? National action is at the center of the new agenda, and thus parliaments are at the center. Parliaments could ensure that national prevention strategies take a long-term view of the positive conditions of peace beyond the negative causes of conflict as the starting point and ultimate aim. This would follow the rethinking and reframing of what peace means as articulated by you in the 2022 IPU resolution that I guess has inspired this very meeting. Parliaments have powerful tools that they can use to ensure that violent conflict does not become the renewed norm for settling interstate disputes. They can invest more in the tools of preventive diplomacy, and they can work to hold executives accountable to commitments to international norms against the excessive use of force. Some of the most concrete recommendations for parliaments in the new agenda for peace relate to gender equality. IPI does work on this. Studies show higher rates of gender inequality correlate to higher rates of violent conflict. To advance peace, parliaments should commit to enact legislation to end gender-based violence and secure women's full, equal, meaningful, and safe participation at all levels of decision-making. Indeed, the work of parliaments to ensure the full participation of a diverse range of actors from all levels of society, including youth, would help address that trust deficit felt so widely at the core of so many of the world's problems today that we've already mentioned numerous times. While trust is easy to betray, it is all too hard to rebuild. The Summit of the Future, I believe, represents the best chance in a generation to do so, or at least to plant the seeds to make it so, and we must seize that opportunity to do so. Thank you.